Away from security to electoral matters, a group of persons living with disabilities want the Independent National Electoral Commission to embark on mobile registration exercises across communities with clusters of persons with disabilities to reduce the cost of registration for them. The group made their suggestions at a public presentation of findings of a research carried out on the participation of persons with disabilities in continuous voters registration. The group says the process will ensure that persons living with disabilities are not disenfranchised in the forthcoming elections. Helen Osamedekins reports.
People living with disabilities are usually sidelined on national issues. Over time, they have lamented non-inclusion in job recruitment exercises and on the other issues that affect them. Our research carried out by Data for Inclusion and its allied organizations across 13 states in Nigeria reveals that people living with disabilities are usually not carried along in the continuous voters registration and during the elections.
Accessibility is a challenge. When they get to the registration centers, there are steps. Data of disability is not being captured. Most of them feel like there are no adequate or reasonable accommodations or provisions that are made for them. As such, there is this very, very low interest. A person with disability feels, well, I don't even need to vote because these people don't even care about my welfare.
Before now, on the INEC registration, you do not have the disability nature of persons with disabilities. And so that means that if they didn't have persons with disability in mind when the process was put in place, then there was no way they could have planned for them. I think with our engagement with the Independent National Electoral Commission, which over a couple of years now has been very responsive to our call for inclusivity, things have greatly improved.
As the nation prepares for another election year in 2023, the group is concerned that such persons are still not carried along. The group recommends that INEC should fit in people with disabilities into their plans to ensure they are involved in choosing their leaders.
Polling units, the registration areas, all other public buildings that they are using for electoral activities should be made accessible for persons with disability. In subsequent election we will be having in Nigeria, persons with disability can be proudly say, yes, we are in a society that is inclusive.
To conduct training for INEC officials during the registration process in terms of their attitude towards persons with disabilities. First, prioritizing the needs of people with disabilities. As soon as a person with disability comes, just let the person come forward and you begin to capture the person's data.
They also call on INEC to provide better education messages in accessible formats to reach various clusters of PWDs and at reduced costs. The organizers are hoping that the outcome will help INEC make decisions as it relates to people living with disability in the forthcoming elections. Helen Osamedekins, TVC News, Abuja.